Welcome to Woodshop 101, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Now meet the yin and yang of woodworking and the lady that keeps them in line, Jeremy, Drew, and Sam.
Welcome to episode number 52. Tonight we're going to talk about table sag and table saw burn. What's going on tonight, Sam?
Why are you singling me out? What do you mean? There's another person in the room.
Well, I want people to know that you're on the podcast, that you haven't left yet.
No, I have not left yet. What's going on? I'm real tired today, you guys. I'm a little low energy. I think I need some Sour Patch Kids in my life.
Sam grew up today and became an adult.
I did. Too many things happened that were adult this week. I started hours for my promotion at my job. We signed a lease on mine and Chris's first adult apartment. And now I just feel like I aged 40 years in 24 hours.
It's funny. She just turned adult today, and she's already complaining.
I know. Exactly.
Welcome to adulthood.
That's what happens.
It doesn't change.
I complain for the rest of my life.
I wish I could be 26 and just now become an adult, but I guess that's not going to happen.
I'm still technically not an adult till I graduate. That's what I've decided. Like, I'll be a real adult when I'm done with school.
Okay. Then be a kid, call in sick one day a week to work, and stay on the podcast. All
right, okay. Probably make this work. Once a month, just be like, I think I have the flu today.
You've had the flu once a month for the last 4 months.
It's in remission for 3 weeks out of the month.
It's a reoccurring bug.
What are you up to, Drew?
This is my vacation week. I actually took off last Thursday, and I've been off since then until the end of this week. So I've been trying to bang out as many videos as I can. I've got 3 jointed videos that I did over the past 2 days, and I am in the process of working on a collaboration video with Zach Higgins from Envy Woodworks. He sent me a silicone mold of a cross that I was wanting to make for a friend of the family, of my wife's actually. And I bought some Alumilite epoxy, like 1-to-1 ratio epoxy mix. And the reason I'm making the crosses is that the friend of the family had a funeral home that burned to the ground, basically. It had been in business for many, many, many years, and my wife even worked there at a time. And the only wood that they could salvage was pretty much not usable whatsoever to do any kind of project with. So I decided to take the ashes off of the wood and slurry them into the epoxy mix and make as many crosses as I could with the mold that he made me. So that's what I am working on right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Peter Brown would be proud.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Peter Brown, I just got his sticker in the mail, like, yesterday. You know, because Sam doesn't have stickers.
Listen, I either shower or make stickers, and showering is really important, so.
You can order stickers.
Yeah, who said make them?
I know. I'll add it to my list.
I gave you a link to give you $10 off.
I know you did. A few people did, actually, not just you. Like, a lot of people have sent me links to make stickers. The thing is, like, first of all, if I don't write it down in the moment, I don't remember. Like, that's my problem.
Okay, pause. You gotta write it down right now.
Pause.
Wait, I'm gonna put it. I have like a little sticky note on my desktop.
No, that doesn't count. It's
No. Coloring book.
Coloring book. Oh, mine's in the other room.
Yeah, mine's downstairs. I don't feel like getting it, so.
Drew, okay. You're going to jump on this bandwagon and get a coloring book.
You know, the longer that I have more time to devote to my show, the more I realize that I need a coloring book. So I can actually look at it and say, oh, yeah, I got to do this today.
Yeah, I got to that point, and I bought one last week. I ordered it from Amazon because I had so much going on, and like I couldn't remember what days I was trying to schedule stuff, and I ended up scheduling too many things at the same time and had to cancel every single one of them last week. So
that's a problem.
Well, I'm glad you're on the coloring book bandwagon because that thing saves my life. I'd be so lost without it. And I was actually color coding a lot of things today, and it was fun. So I'm glad you guys got one.
I mean, my coloring book's gonna be a
I don't have one.
Oh yeah. Well,
Sh-
Drew doesn't have one yet, so
Yet is the key word.
he'll be part of the cool kids coloring book club soon enough.
Mine's
I'm going to get those washable markers to, it gets on my hand and wash it up.
Yeah, you need those.
And Crayola!
You probably lick them too, don't you? Do they color my tongue? So
You draw on your face.
Yeah, I actually did something in the shop this weekekend. I installed a new garage door opener.
Nice.
It's amazing, and I had the torsion springs redone in my shop as well. And it went from you'll see I'm recording a video of it. Me lifting this door before the opener was installed and before the torsion springs is just comical because I'm trying to like bench press or squat, whatever you call it, a 250-pound door. It was crazy, and I finally got it up, and I walk up to the camera, and I'm like, "That's got to be replaced. Let's screw this right now. Like, I will not lift that again." And immediately replace it, and like as soon as they put the springs on, he was like, "Take one finger and lift that door," and I'm just like. I was so mad. I was like, why couldn't this be like this earlier?
My luck, I would have lifted the door, walked up to the camera, and realized I didn't turn the damn thing on.
Well, then you shut the door and repeat.
No.
I'm telling you, the door is super heavy, and it's crazy. Like the door itself is 250 or 300 pounds, but then it being well balanced on a good set of torsion springs, it thing feels like it weighs nothing. So it's pretty excited to actually have something done in the shop.
Well, how's the door opener? Do you like it?
Oh, I love it. It's in fact, so I was telling you guys right before we recorded, I was sitting in my truck hitting the button, and I was mad because it wouldn't open until I hit the button and got out of my truck and realized it was opening. It was just so quiet I couldn't hear it. And it's insanely quiet. I've messed with a lot of garage door openers over the last 8 years, and this thing is it's so quiet that on reverse they have an alarm, and the light on it flashes and it beeps real loud for like 10 seconds or something before it will close the door. So
that's like my the one I've got. Does it have an app and everything that you can use on your phone?
Yeah.
So fancy.
Here, you want me to open up my garage door right now? Let's see. I don't know if I can do it. Let's see.
You won't be able to hear it anyway.
He's not gonna know if it's open or closed. Some critters are gonna have a gator in your garage when you go back there.
Yeah. He'll leave for work.
Yeah, see?
Carry the
garage door is opening.
That's cool.
And gator is entering.
See, look, it actually even opens on the app. Watch, let's see. Let's close it, and you'll actually get to see it closing on the app. This is given that it's going to actually work.
So I'm guessing like you could be anywhere and just open your garage door for someone?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's connected to Wi-Fi, and you can turn on like all the different modules on it through the phone. And so I was kind of leery on how they worked, and I was like, well, I don't want to have to like get on a ladder to turn them on every single time. But it's not. They're all hooked up to the keypad that goes on your wall inside, and there's numbers 1 through 5, and you hit the number corresponding to where that module is on the unit to turn it on. You hit the number again, it'll turn it off. So it's actually pretty cool. I haven't played around with it a lot because after installing it, I was dead. I didn't want to. It was so hot out, but it's that LED on it is insanely quiet. Insanely bright.
I was like, I hope so.
Insanely bright. Like it's the LED panel on the bottom is extremely bright.
I always have issues with lights being too loud in my shop too.
Yeah. Well, you know, you hear the buzzing noise, the bzzz, and you're like, maybe that's just noises in my head, but no. So within the next 2 weeks, it's gonna be painted, and I'm gonna have all the new lights wired up in there. So once that's done, then I can actually start trying to get things moved around, build some cabinets, things like
Finish a dining room table.
Never happening.
that.
I'm just trying to block it.
You can't see it. No, that's actually why I went to Home Depot last weekend, was to look at some wood and trying to really decide on what I'm going to use for it. So I hadn't decided, but it's definitely the first thing that's going to happen. I just got to figure out.
First thing's going to happen after the garage opener, and then the lights in the garage, and then.
Nah, I'm not doing all that. I'm actually having it painted and having all the electricity done. All the electrical work is going to be done by somebody else. So that
No DIY there.
no. At some point, you just got to say enough's enough, and I don't have enough time to do everything, or else it would be this time next year before I'm actually even getting projects done. Which, be real, it's probably going to be this time next year before I actually do anything. It'll be this time next year before that's finished.
Yeah, exactly. Hence why we should have taken listener bets. I said this like so long ago. I probably would have won so much money right now.
I'm going to prove both of you wrong. This thing is going to get done. It's going to be done by the end of September.
End of September. You see,
I'm
my bet.
calendar.
Don't you remember my bet? It was before Christmas.
Oh, it was.
Mine was after New Year's.
Yeah.
See, I might have this one won.
Yeah.
No. Okay, Jeremy, don't finish the table. Don't do it.
I'll make you a deal.
It's going in my calendar.
If you stay on the podcast, I won't finish it until after New Year's.
Whoa.
That's just wrong. That's blackmail.
No, it's give and take.
Bribery.
Give and take.
It's called a whiffum. What's in it for me?
Whiffum.
What's in it for me?
Okay, wait. So I set an alarm for September 30th to check in and make sure that table is built.
She's going to look in the podcast and it'll still be back there.
There.
Well, it'll be built. Maybe.
Later.
Maybe the benches won't be built, but the table will be. That's all that matters.
Well, we're kind of beating a dead horse here, Sam. How are you? What's in your shop?
I am signs galore. I'm preparing for a pretty big handmade craft fair in Montauk that I do. I think last time I did it might have been 3 years ago because I've been pretty busy, but I've been asked to do it a few years in a row now, and this year I was like, that's it, I'm doing it, and now I just built like 120 signs, and I have to paint them all before September 4th, so we'll see how that goes. Might have some blank templates.
Okay, you did these signs, and what you said you did 120 of them, but you haven't got them painted. So what's the extent of the sign? Is it routed, or is it carved? Is it stenciled? Or is it
okay? So right now
just got a bunch of boards up.
A bunch of boards.
Basically though, like don't make fun because they're all a bunch of palette signs that are just stuck together in varying sizes, and they're all on piles with like post-its so I have like 10 of them and a post-it that's like 10 anchors, and then like a pile of 5 of them, it's like 5 locals only signs, but they're just sitting there in piles and I haven't gotten to them yet. And so what I end up doing for shows like this, and maybe this is helpful for anybody who wants to make some bulk painting stuff, but I usually like host a painting party and then like bribe people with booze and dinner, and then draw up my design, take some like mylar paper, like that plasticky stuff, X-Acto knife out like a reusable stencil, and then hand it off to some of my buddies, and I'm like, here, you paint 5 of those, pick some cool colors, I trust you, and then like here's a beer and some pizza. So that's usually how this works. It's just a lot. It's a lot for one person to do. And I used to be so anal and so OCD, and I wouldn't let anybody help me. And I just, there's no way. Like, I need to have people help me this year. So.
Well, at least you're just doing signs. Whenever I did craft shows, I ended up having to make furniture. And I had to, gosh.
No, I was going to do that. And then I was like, why? I'm not doing it. I can't do it. Also, too, it's like, this is a really niche market for me. So, you know, this makes sense. Like, making my signs for this particular fair makes sense. I feel like if I brought furniture, which is what I was going to do with some of the pieces I've built and don't really have space for, I'm afraid that they won't sell. So what I'm going to probably do is take a few of the tables I built as displays and just put a price tag on it and see if anybody's interested and kind of test the waters before I decide to jump right into selling furniture.
So you're going to use the show as your garage sale?
Yeah, basically.
That's what I was exactly about to tell you, is like, don't necessarily build anything for it, but take a few pieces and put it out, because it may or may not sell, but you put some business cards on it, you may get sales from it. Be like, hey, I saw you had this table. Can you build a desk or whatever?
Right, that's a good idea.
So it may not physically sell, but it could generate sales. And
yeah.
You just gotta be careful.
Doesn't help your garage sale factor. Yeah, it doesn't help the garage sale factor that you need to move the pieces that you already have. But I know of a recycle bin that you could put those in if you need to.
At your place?
No, I know a true recycle bin. I mean,
he's a little out of reach from that particular recycle bin, but they all look alike.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I figured, you know, the last time I did this fair, I sold every single sign. I left with nothing, and it was incredible. And my hope is to do that again this year, but if I can offer some bigger ticket items and just see if they sell, then maybe I can start to move what I'm doing at this fair in a different direction. So I'm just trying to be smart about it. It's a lot of work, though.
Yeah. When is this fair?
September
Next week.
Next week.
September. It's September 3rd and 4th.
You better order that pizza now.
Literally next week.
30 signs painted. Guys, this is why I'm so tired, I think, today. I have too much to do. My adult brain can't handle it.
Yeah,
and it just started.
And I actually feel bad for you. You have 1 week. 1 week.
Look, here's my thing. I'm going to do what I can. I'm not going to burn myself out. If at least my minimum is like 60 signs, is half. So I'm pretty positive I could do at least 60 signs. If I can't get all 120, it is what it is. I'm not going to drive myself insane at this point. I'm insanely busy, but it is what it is. It's fine.
This is
I got a solution. You make the 60. But then you put a sign up that says custom orders can be filled, and use the other 60 that you have for the customization signs.
Exactly. So. I like it.
That, or how long does it say roughly take you to paint one sign?
Well, if I already have the reusable stencil like X-Actoed out and done, probably like 15 minutes. But then I get like OCD about like picking out some of the paint that isn't perfect, and it takes longer than it should, is what I'm trying to say.
It's called rustic.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
No, it has to look perfect.
At a lot of these events, people like to see like how these items are made. Have you thought about taking a few and over throughout the course of the day, you just paint on them so people can actually see how they're made? You're like,
totally
no way, nobody's going to see me do it.
I'll tell you why I'm not going to do this, because two things. One is that the first year I did it, so many people were in the booth all the time that I couldn't. I was dealing with so many people at once that I can't even like think of leaving, like painting something on there. The second thing is that there is a woman at the fair. Now I'm calling people out and I'm being really mean. So sorry, lady. I hope she never listens to this podcast. She probably will never. But anyway, there's a lady at the fair who markets herself as having handmade signs, but they're clearly not handmade. I'm pretty sure she like orders them manufactured from like China and then brings a sanding block with her to the fair and sands them down at her booth. They're handmade. And
sanded.
And it just like it kills me a little bit. So I just like prefer to not be there trying to like quote unquote sell my method. You know what I mean? Like I just want to be there to display my signs. And then if you want a custom order, I usually bring like an order form and have people fill it out for me there. And then we like figure it out afterwards. But yeah, I just don't want to do that.
Do you take money on custom orders up front?
Here's my problem. I don't. I do if they're online. I don't if they're in person.
Oh, yeah.
But I know, and it's so bad. And I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't gotten burned yet. Montauk's a small town where like everybody trusts each other, and I'm very trusting, and it's a blessing and a curse. But I think I'm going to start taking at least like a deposit, if not asking for it up front now, because I just don't want to take any chances.
I would, and I'm not saying people are going to burn you. I would take a deposit just for the pure fact that it's known that if you're asking for money and somebody comes in, sees a sign, oh, custom sign, oh, that's cool. Oh, hey, do you have a card and I'll contact you, versus, hey, you can buy it right now.
Yeah.
And then, I will, if you're within a 10-mile radius or whatever, I'll deliver it or we'll schedule for a pickup or whatever. But because people go to these fairs wanting to spend the money right now. So just by even taking a deposit, should give you more sales up front. Just by saying, okay, $10 for your deposit or whatever. And so it should get more people to jump on it right then.
That's a great idea. I really like that a lot.
And especially if you offer like, okay, if you order the custom sign now and pay the deposit, you're gonna get this quote unquote deal. I'm offering 10% off my signs for this fair or whatever. Make it to where like they're like, oh, I need to do it now. It's more profitable for me to do it now. So
I like this idea. You're a genius.
We should have discussed this on our craft show episode.
I
know.
should. But you know what's making me a genius is hold up what's in your hand right now. What's in your hand? No.
Sharpie?
Sharpie pen?
Yeah.
I saw you swinging it around. I carry one in my pocket.
I always have one because I keep like I'm a note taker. I
keep
write
one in
things
my
down all the
pocket
time.
everywhere I go, and then I got like 4 of them in my desk.
I'm like, what do I do with my hands?
Help! Hey, I liked how your fingernails there matched your lavender ice cream for breakfast the other day.
First of all, okay, if anybody in the world, if you have an option to have lavender ice cream for breakfast, like effing do it. It was so good. It was the best breakfast I've ever had in my life. No, but like it was total coincidence, but it made for a really cool photo. I had actually a friend who's a magazine editor write me, and he was like, "Did you do that on purpose? Because people pay me to stage things like that." And I was like, "Nope, but you want to pay me for this picture? I'll give it to you. That's fine."
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
$200 per use. So, well, I think we're rambling enough.
Just a little bit. I was gonna say, let's get to the questions.
Questions. He don't need answers.
Everyone listening to this is like, what is the theme of this podcast again? Like, I totally forgot.
Sam's farewell.
That's the next episode. I get my own party in the next episode, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just kidding, you guys. I don't need a party. But
I'm going to bust out the 12-year-old aged rum.
We got streamers.
Woo.
Okay. Well, we had a little bit of, I guess, some kickback and a question at the same time. This came from Sean. I don't have a last name, but he did sign it Sean. It says, thank you for answering my question. I just have a little kickback from your answer to my question with the sawmill. The issue that I had with the price increase was that the milling had been included in the initial quote. Again, I could understand a slight increase due to the waste, but their prices as posted for milling were by the linear foot, not board foot. so I thought the milling cost should have remained the same. Also, I wouldn't have had a problem if the wood was superior to a big box store, but 2 of the boards were gouged from the planer periodically down the length, and 2 of the boards looked as if they were milled for someone else's order a while ago. They had different name and date on them and had significant twists, but all in all, my question was if $120 was reasonable price to surface and rip one edge straight. As to the blades, essentially I took Drew's approach, and my grandfather said they will get the job done. they still will get the job done, apparently. So, and told me to return the blades. And he said, just another quick question. My mom has a round kitchen table that she bought that is very unstable when the leaf is put in. The legs are fine, but the top seems to need to be braced. The legs come into a single column that looks like it is screwed to the center of some plywood that is then attached to the apron. Do you have any ideas for stabilizing the top or on a different way for the top to be attached? Oh, that was a long one. Thanks for everything, and Sam, you will be missed, but I look forward to the shows to come. Sincerely, Sean.
Sean, thanks.
Yeah. You want to break it down?
Yeah, like, where do we start?
Yeah. Basically, he's coming back to the same question. Was $120 reasonable for the price, surface, and rip one straight edge of the order that he had? And we had discussed this at length on the last podcast, and I guess we didn't quite answer his question. But from what he is saying on this particular little post to kind of follow up, I don't know, $120, especially with messed up wood.
I'm gonna lean to say that they took him to the cleaners on this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
I
was gonna say it too.
I mean, especially with the milling looking like crap, and the fact that he said it appeared that half of his order was for somebody else that they just threw onto his. So yeah, and if the milling was included in your initial cost, then I don't understand the price increase at all.
Here's the thing, though. You don't have to take the order. I mean, if you're going there to pick it up and it's not to your liking, you don't have to take it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which could be why there was a different name and different date on it, because somebody else didn't take it.
True. Mm-hmm. I didn't think of that.
So, and then
yeah.
I think he, by this next part about his blades, and he remember in his initial he said he was working in somebody else's shop. I'm guessing
apparently it's his grandfather.
Yeah, and and his grandfather just said, "You're going to use what I have." But,
yeah, take your blades back. These will still get the job done.
But he did clarify it in a follow-up email that said that he wasn't rude to his grandfather, but he pretty much told him that his blades were dull and
substandard.
And it was gonna injure somebody. So, all right. Did y'all check out the pictures that he sent for that last question?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
We're slackers.
We'll let you take that.
All right. Well, then, so simply explaining it is, it's a pedestal table. It's a dining room pedestal table, and it expands and he puts a leaf in it. And so what he's saying is that the table, when the leaf is in, I guess the ends sag. If from what I understand, and he's wanting to know,
sense.
And he's wanting to know, how to brace it, or how to, I guess, if the column wasn't, or the pedestal, if it wasn't placed on right. I'm not really sure. But what I can tell you from the picture that you sent, Sean, is the way that pedestal is attached to the table is 95% of how all pedestals are attached to tables. They're attached.
Oh, yeah.
They're attached in the center. And over time, and depending on it, if it's particle board or that's veneered, or if it's actually plywood or solid wood, whatever it is. But over time, as that table is expanded, that leaf, it's going to sag. I mean, it's just, that's what happens to older furniture. And you didn't really say how old this table was. But to answer part of your question is, no, there's no better way really to attach that pedestal. That's how, I mean, when I build a pedestal table, that's exactly how I build it. Is just like that. That's how I attach it. Now, to brace the table extensions as they're extended out, is there a way to do that? Yeah, I mean, places like Rockler sell foldable, like little foldable desk legs. You could put one of those on there. So as you fold it out, you pull the leg down. The real question is, how long do you have this leaf in there? If it's only for occasional dinner parties or whatever, I wouldn't worry about it. It's not going to make a difference. But if it's something you're keeping in there all the time, or your mom's keeping in there all the time, then yeah, maybe finding a way to brace it is the way to go. And it could be simply maybe building a leg for it, or buying something from like Rockler that have the foldable legs. What do y'all think?
Well, in looking at the pictures, the piece of wood that pedestal is attached to looks like MDF. You could upgrade the MDF, but also, I mean, if you're a woodworker and you have pretty good knowledge of how to replicate things, I mean, the sliders, basically what makes these tables sag after time is that these sliders get sloppy, because it's just a hardwood runner in just basically a groove, and whenever it gets slid out, it puts a lot of pressure on the end of that hardwood runner, and I don't know, it just really makes them sloppy after a while. So, I mean, you could replace the hardwood runner with, say, a metal, just like a metal runner. I know, like Rockler makes those miter track. They're aluminum, but it really won't keep it from not sagging eventually, because the wood is still going to wear out. It's not. I don't know if this is a high dollar table or not. If maybe it was a garage sale find, or maybe it was built by someone and it's just been over time, taking a toll on itself. But they do make extendable, like mechanical extendable runners that go underneath your table too, that are a lot smoother, they're a lot stronger. They're a little bit of an investment, but if you really want to keep the table for a long period of time, then you can invest in some of those. But you could try and just replicate the extensions and get them to where they're not so sloppy anymore. I mean, that's really the whole problem with them sagging, is that they've just gotten sloppy.
Yeah, and yeah, places like Osborne Wood Products sell prefabricated wooden table extension slides.
Sorry, that was me.
Oh yeah,
it's a little alert.
So yeah, you could do something like that. You have something to say there, Sam?
Same thing you guys are saying. It's just over time, it's really normal for that to happen, and for there to be a little bit of bow. It's also part of it's like when a lot of people lean on those tables, or you're putting any sort of pressure, naturally there's going to be some bowing or some wobbling. So really just either rebuilding or reinforcing what's already there might help to just keep everything flush for a bit. But then the reality is, again, it might just happen again over time. So just think smartly about what you want to invest in, and budget wise and long-term use, because as with any of those tables or the aprons, just pressure on it's going to make it bounce and bow anyway. So just be smart about what you spend on it and if it's really worth it.
Yeah. All right. Sam, you got that next question?
I guess so. Still looking at these pictures. Okay. Next question. How do you eliminate burn with the table saw?
This kind of goes back to the grandfather thing.
Yeah. So I just imagine being like, "Hey, Pop, I bought you some blades," and Pop's like, "Nah, do it the old-fashioned way. Get rid of these." It's like my grandpa would do that. But yeah, I mean, there are like some basic things that you can do to eliminate burn right off the bat, like getting the sharp blades. So if your grandpa likes having burn marks on his wood, then he can totally keep his blades, and that's okay. But yeah, also feeding the wood at the right speed is another one. If you push it too slow, there's going to be burn. If you are trying to rush the process, there could be burn. So just be smart and understand like what you're trying to cut and what the technique is that you're using to cut the wood. It's a very delicate process. I think of it like cooking, like if you leave the food on for too long, it's going to burn. So if you're like pushing the wood through this blade a little too hard, or if you're really working it more than it should, like it's going to burn. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah, and there's a multitude of things that can cause wood burning. Your fence could be out of alignment. Your blade could have too much pitch on it. You're trying to saw with the wrong tooth count on a really hard wood or soft wood, or the wood can be getting in a bind on the backside of the blade. So not having a riving knife can cause burn. I mean, there's a multitude of things. It's just boils down to technique, really, technique and equipment.
Yeah, I would say that the initial steps to look at are make sure your fence is in line with your blade. You want it parallel. If that's the case, it's all parallel, then you want to clean off the pitch. Make sure you got extremely clean blades. And then if it's still not working, let's try technique. And this is where you got to practice and kind of have an idea. A lower horsepower saw cannot cut as thick of a wood, so take it in a few passes. So maybe go a third of the way or a half of the way through the piece, and then I didn't even say "Hey Siri," and it's
Siri has an answer for this question. You guys just let it happen.
anyway,
Speaking of,
so go like a half of the way through the piece, or a third, and then raise the blade up some more and take another pass, and that way it's actually clearing out less material, but you will eventually be able to cut the full thickness of that wood. That takes just a little bit longer to do, but that's a way to cut harder woods or really thicker woods on a lower horsepower saw. And when I'm talking about lower horsepower, really around your 1 1/4 horse is when you start getting into those problems. You get up to about the 1 3/4 horse. That just the horsepower alone will eliminate a lot of those problems. And if that still doesn't work, then it's time to invest some money in probably a new blade or getting the blade sharpened. If it is a $15 or $20 blade that you picked up from Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards or wherever you got your stuff from, there's more than likely it's not resharpenable. You'll have to buy a new blade. But if you invest in like a Freud blade or a Woodworker 2, something like that, then definitely get it resharpened. And that should actually be, you should put that on your regimen of having it done once to twice a year, depending on how much you actually use that blade. And I would say at least once every 2 or 3 months you need to be cleaning the pitch off of it. So, y'all agree with
nice.
that?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we actually got some voicemail kickback. Pretty excited about that. So let's listen to it.
Hey guys, Dan Ball calling from Syracuse, New York. I got a little kickback for Lee on his basement moisture problem. I think the first thing he's got to do is determine whether it's actually coming through the wall or if it's just ambient moisture in the air. A lot of basements can be pretty damp. The way to do that is to actually duct tape a about 2-foot square piece of plastic to the wall. If there's moisture on the inside, the basement side, then it's just dampness in the air. If there's moisture's coming through the walls. UGL makes a product called Dry Lock that's available that does a pretty good job of waterproofing from the inside, but in reality, that's just kind of a Band-Aid because you still have moisture inside of your foundation. But that will dry up his shop. So that's what I got.
I actually forgot about that little tip. I remember seeing that on DIY Network or something like that.
So, so at least we got some kickback on that, and hopefully that helps you out if you haven't already figured out the problem. But all right, let's move into product recommendations. Sam, you have to go first because yours is epic. Yours is yours is epic.
So I put a product down, and then Drew was like, "Didn't you say that one before?" And I was like, "Probably." And then I was like, "Why am I not recommending my favorite product in the whole wide world?" And that is Sour Patch Kids. So
I mean, she did promise us on the last show, or 2 weeks ago, that she was actually going to put Sour Patch Kids.
Yep, so that's my recommendation for today. They come in lots of flavors.
They come in lots of different sizes.
They come in variety packs. You can get just berry if you like berry flavors.
You can get a 5-pound bag.
Oh, I didn't tell you. I got a surprise 5-pound bag of Sour Patch Kids delivered to my house the other day. I didn't know I have no idea. The mail came and the mailman hands me a box, and on it said like candysomething.com, and I was like, if these are Sour Patch Kids, I'm gonna freak out. And I open it, 5-pound bag of Sour Patch Kids. Yes, best day ever.
Do you still have that 5-pound bag?
I'm trying. Okay, here's the thing. It's been so hard to not open it. But I'm trying to save it because I want to put them in a jar in my new apartment so I could just grab them whenever I want. But I had to like put them away, like away. Otherwise, I was going to open them and go to town. So, super excited about it.
It sounded like a commercial. And if you act now, we will send you a 5-pound bag.
I don't know. Do you think Sour Patch Kids sponsors DIY bloggers?
I don't know. It's worth a shot. You should reach out to them.
You're probably the only one that will get sponsored.
Like, all I want is free Sour Patch Kids for life, like nothing else. Just send me Sour Patch Kids for the rest of my life. I'll be so happy. Someone make this happen, please.
I mean, at some point, your dentist is not going to like you.
I mean, it's worth it.
Or he's really going to like you because you're going to be paying him a lot of money.
Yeah, job security.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, Drew, what are you going to recommend?
Well, I just recently acquired a Ryobi sliding compound miter saw 10-inch with laser, and I've been using it the past couple days for these join it videos, and I really like it. It's actually my first one that I've had with a laser, and the travel that it has is a lot more. The depth of cut is 12 inches, and I haven't had a compound miter saw that cuts any more than, I think, 10. So it's a really nice saw. I've been enjoying it. So if you guys are near a Home Depot by any chance, you might want to take a look at those because I really like it. You might find it affordable and nice to have. That's my recommendation.
I love mine. I love my little 10-inch guy. It's lightweight. I bring them pretty much everywhere. And it just like cuts well and it has good power. A few people I know use it and it's their go-to because it just is a really nice saw. So I also recommend it. I back that recommendation.
You say something that it was lightweight, and it was funny that you said that too, because whenever I replaced the one that I had, I picked it up off the table and I was like, oh God, I don't know, I got to set it down. And then I grabbed the Ryobi and I was like, sucker was a little lighter than I thought it would be.
Yeah, he's a cool little guy.
Yeah, so the miter saw I had a Ryobi, and in fact, when I first got started in woodworking, I had like a Ryobi starter kit, and then bought a Ryobi miter saw, and unfortunately, it's kind of fortunate. Within the last year, I had gotten rid of pretty much all my Ryobi because I'd started with their blue line, and that's their older line, kind of less power. But I gave those to a friend that was starting woodworking, and it had gotten me so far, so I gave them to him for him to start out because I'd already upgraded most of all those items anyway. And now I'm looking at going back and getting more Ryobi stuff because I miss just the ease of use and the reliability of it. So I will probably be picking me one of those up, Drew, pretty soon.
Not to mention the affordability. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I think because they're so affordable, a lot of people just are like, well, then they must be bad tools. But the reality is like, especially over the past, I learned on Ryobi tools. Like, I learned everything on them, on the blue line too. And then when I got all I could afford, because I'm in grad school, is their tools. And, but they've really gotten better. Like, the power is better. The reliability is better. Like, their Airstrike is my favorite nail gun I've ever used. And I've used a lot of nail guns. And really, it's like, I definitely understand, like, investing more money for tools that do other things for certain reasons. But, like, especially if you're starting out or if you're just looking for something else to use, like, a lot of their tools are really awesome now, and they're just budget friendly, which makes it even better.
Yeah, I wish the one thing that they would make is an Airstrike pin nailer. All the companies that make the battery operated air guns are all brad nails or a 16 gauge finish nail. I wish somebody would actually make a 23 gauge pin nail because whoever makes the first one's getting my business. So
hint.
Yeah, hint Ryobi. So I'm actually, you heard me talk about it earlier, but I'm going to be recommending the Ryobi garage door opener. You heard me rave about it earlier. I'm not going to ramble on it much more, but it's awesome. The variety of accessories that you can put on it just makes it very convenient. Put a fan on it, put a Bluetooth speaker. And the one thing I was surprised, and I didn't even notice this until I got it installed, is on either side they have an AC plug on it. So yes, you're taking up one of the AC plugs in the ceiling, but they're providing you two more on the unit itself. So you can plug other power tools or whatever you need into it. I think that was really cool. So
yeah, those are handy for drop lights. If you have a reel mounted to the ceiling right next to your garage door opener, it'll plug right into it.
Yeah. And so it's real handy for me because I have a robo reel extension cord as well. And so on the garage door, I have the Ryobi extension reel, and now I'm going to have my robo reel. And I'm going to mount them on opposite sides of each other. So one will function on one side of the shop and the other will function for the other side. And the fact that I can plug it straight into the garage door opener itself is just an added benefit instead of doing a three-way split or something on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
So,
cool.
Right.
Good recommendations, guys.
I know. I like yours the best, but
I was about to say I like the Sour Patch the best.
Yeah, I like Sour Patch the best too. So we all know that already.
I'm going to recommend Nerds next time.
You better not.
Ooh, Pixie Sticks.
I'll call in while you're recording and leave some voicemail kickback.
No, you won't. The last person we heard that said they were going to call in and leave voicemail kickback never called back. Matt Cremona.
Matt.
Called it out. But, all right. So, guess we should get down to some late night business, huh?
You want to do it one last time?
I guess so, you guys. All right. So if you want to support the show, if you like what we've been doing, what the guys have been doing, you can head over to woodshop101podcast.com/listen, find our show notes for today's episode, and there will also be links for small one-time donations, which are very helpful. If you listen to the show on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. It helps us reach a greater audience. Same thing with YouTube. If you watch us on YouTube, like our video, share our video, subscribe. It really is helpful, and it It's a lot of fun to watch us sometimes.
Yeah, I don't necessarily do the video every time. That's something that we'll end up discussing. I feel like if we offer all these things and then we decide to go back to Patreon, what can we offer our Patreon customers or supporters down the line if we're already offering all this premium content up front? So,
how about a free package of Sour Patch Kids?
Ooh.
Ooh.
With the handwritten note, signed, autographed from Sam.
Okay, but you guys can only have the flavors that I get sick of after a little bit.
So she's gonna open up the package, eat them all out, and be like, "This is what you get."
They'll be received in Ziploc baggies.
You'll get greens and oranges in a Ziploc bag with a handwritten note. Sorry, but it's out of love, I swear.
That's funny. Well, if you guys want to get in contact with Jeremy, Sam, or myself, even though Sam is leaving, I'm sure she would still love to hear from you guys.
That's cool.
We each have a website that has fancy contact information that you'll be able to find a form to fill out, and it will go straight to us. You can find Jeremy at countrysideworkshop.com. You can find me at rhwoodshop.com and Sam at DIYhuntress.com. You can also get in contact with all three of us at the same time, or in the near future, just Jeremy and myself, at the Woodshop 101 podcast at gmail.com. Don't forget, we have the voicemail line, which you heard earlier tonight or today, whenever this is released, with an area code of 409-234-3959. You can call from any mobile device, and you'll be able to leave us a voicemail that we can air and answer your question or feature your feedback, anything like that. So we really appreciate all the feedback and emails that we've received so far. So that's pretty much it from us. So from Jeremy, Sam, and myself, we want to wish you guys well. Be safe in your shops, and God bless. 1, 2, 3.
Boom!